Greetings, my friends. This is Celeria Rosenkreuz, and on this episode of the Chronological Quran, episode 6, we shall be beginning the investigation of Surah 68, the Pen. Now, it is worth noting that there is some disagreement as to which surah is the second one in chronological order. Ibn Kathir actually suggests that Al-Mudathir was the second surah in the chronology, for instance, and is using Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim to make his case. The traditional ordering of things has this surah placed two surahs before that one, however, and there is no clear evidence one way or the other, so I will choose to do as I said I would in my previous video. Move on to Surah 68, known as Al-Qalam. It begins in Ayat 1 by saying, Noon, by the pen and what everyone writes. And the next ayat continues, By the grace of your Lord, O Prophet, you are not insane. Here I'm going to have to disagree with Maududi, for he makes this far too local and mundane a thing. I believe that Tafsir Ibn Kathir has it correct as far as the Quran is here drawing from the surah traditionally held to be immediately chronologically before it, wherein it was stated that Allah gave man the pen, and that by his divine equivalent thereof, the world and the tablet upon which the true book is inscribed had been established from eternity. These twin realities, that his was a book coming from the supposed creator of all things, and that the creator was the one who allowed for the flourishing of language in the first place, are supposed to justify and legitimize Muhammad. This is a primitive sort of argument from divine craftsmanship in favor of the quality and holiness of the Quran. It also means that, on the other hand, if it were not the case that the Quran was divine in origin, there would be a much stronger case for Muhammad being insane. Given Muhammad's society-defying behavior, how Jibreel afflicted him in order to force the ayat to come, and the fact he insisted on foreign religious doctrines being true after having spent a great deal of time isolated in a cave, people will have had every reason to believe he had simply become mad. Ayat 3 continues to say, You will certainly have never-ending reward. That is, your reward will be uninterrupted. And you are truly a man of outstanding character, indeed most exalted as a standard of moral excellence. Here Allah has been and continues to be encouraging and comforting Muhammad, trying to prevent him from falling into the depths of despair. On the one hand, this is almost charming. On the other, this is being publicly proclaimed, and while it may have stroked whatever ego Muhammad had at the time, and pushed him towards having more confidence in himself, it also presumably meant that there were more people who actually did view him as insane, and therefore more were probably alienated than were won by these words being included in a book designed to win more followers, be a guidance for people for a long term, and which was supposed to have been spoken from eternity. This sort of outstanding character line seems like it could very easily cause some issues later on as well, insofar as it should theoretically be permanently enshrined as truth in Islamic tradition. Both for Muhammad and his followers, therefore, their deity is saying that those who would reproach him or decry his behavior are going against the word of Allah, which the man should not even doubt himself. Smells like a recipe for violence and pride. People are not perfect, and putting one on a pedestal is generally a very good way to cause them to fall and fail to meet the expectations and honors that pedestal would signify. The next ayat goes thus. Soon you and the pagans will see which of you is mad. Surely your Lord alone knows best who has strayed from his way and who is rightly guided. Lastly, Allah suggests that Muhammad would have the last laugh, so to speak, using his claimed position as the Lord and Creator of the worlds to leverage an argument that he was better able to judge when insanity afflicted someone than mere humans would ever be able to know, and suggesting that the error is in fact on the polytheists' part, for they had departed from proper civilizational behavior. What they registered as madness, therefore, he would imply, is actually simply evidence of a person having righteous temperament and a will to follow their maker. This is obviously using half-truth to reinforce the strength of a lie, telling Muhammad exactly what he wants to hear while playing into the narrative that Surah 96 established of rebellion on the part of humans. Practically everyone nowadays would agree that the polytheists were in the wrong and were following aberrant ways. By putting Muhammad against such a people as he started his career, it gave the nascent religious leader a clear focus to preach against, and a banner to organize people under. Social and religious reform in opposition to a culture that was, at least from what the Quran has presented of them so far, focused on worldly pleasure, power, and dominion, to the detriment of spiritual health. Thus ends the current reading. Next time we shall continue on and see how far we shall be able to go. Until then, this has been Celeria Rosencreux, and I thank you for joining me in my reading of the Quran, which I hope will be a useful tool for all of the community in the days to follow. Let us see beyond the obfuscation of the Quran's current organization and gaze into the truth that lies underneath it. Farewell once again.